Mathematics, Ordinary Level, Paper 1, 2023, Part 1. Before you start with the question paper, you must go through the instructions and even highlight a few things. Now let's do it in this question paper. Candidates answer on the question paper in the spaces provided. You will see that on the question paper. Write your center number, candidate number, and name in the space at the top of this page. Can I just show you? There, fill in, fill in, fill in. Let's go up again. Write in dark blue or black pen, not another color, not in green or whatever color you want to use. You may use a soft pencil for any diagrams or graphs, so you can use a pencil also. Do not use correction fluid, Tipp-Ex, no Tipp-Ex. Do not write in the margin for examinations use. You will usually find that here. Okay, leave that space open. Answer all questions, so don't leave questions out, then you're going to lose marks. If working is needed for any question, it must be shown below or where working is indicated. So please do not just press everything on your calculator and just write the answer in. If you can show a step, write that step, because even if your answer is incorrect, maybe that step is correct and you can score 1 mark. Okay. The number of marks is given in brackets at the end of each question or part question. So you will see it there at the end of the question. Please see it, it would help you. So if a question counts 3 marks, then usually it will be 2 or 3 steps. Non-programmable calculators may be used. So please don't go with a programmable one, because then they're going to take it off and you're going to sit without a calculator. Ask your teacher if you are unsure before the examination. So if the degree of accuracy is not specified in the question, or if the answer is not exact, I want to highlight this. So if the degree, I just want to get to bed. If the degree, I'm still struggling with that. If the degree of accuracy is not specified in the question, and if the answer is not exact, give the answer to 3 significant figures, not 2 decimal places, to 3 significant figures. Give answers for angles to 1 decimal place. Very, very important. Otherwise, you will lose marks. But very important, and I will emphasize it in the question paper. Always first write the full calculator display, and in the space provided, go for the 3 significant figures or the 1 decimal place if it's an angle. And then for pi, either use your calculator, there's a key on the calculator, or 3,142. Okay, now before we go into question number 1, I first just want to go through the report. So I'm going to do the same as last year. I want you to take you back to the examination report. So after the examination, they look at general things and they compile it into a report that they sent to the teachers. But I want to show it to you because you can gain marks by trying to avoid unnecessary mistakes. Okay, so let's just see the general things on the report. So they start by saying, the paper was of similar standard as that of last year, with marks ranging from 0 to 80. In general, there was a poor performance from candidates this year. It's actually sad because paper 1 is usually going to primary level and also to the lower grades. However, this is attributed to the assumption that a large part of the syllabus was not covered by an overwhelming number of centers, which is also sad. So please don't always stop your teacher and say, you go too fast, you go too fast. Rather go and sit on a weekend, work a little bit extra, because they must work on their speed to complete the syllabus. This assumption was made on the basis that candidates left questions unanswered. So if they see trigonometry, no one in that center is answering it, it's an indication to them that center did not cover the trigonometry in the syllabus. Moreover, many candidates made transfer errors when transferring their answer to the answer space. So be very careful, okay? So that when you do your calculations, just take that 2 seconds and just see if you copy it correctly. I'll show you when we come to that. Candidates misread the answers of their own working, which led to the losing of marks. So be careful, you're going to lose marks. Candidates should be taught to answer questions by showing their methods, and they even bold print it. So always show all your methods, regardless of the marks allocated. So if there's even just 1 mark, but you can show a step, then show that step. Furthermore, it was seen that candidates lost marks due to incorrect methods. Okay, so don't write incorrect methods. Even if your answer is correct, but the method is incorrect, you can also lose marks. It is therefore important to acknowledge that if a method is wrong, no marks will be allocated to the answer, even if it is correct, as I said. As in previous years, candidates should be discouraged from giving choices in their workings or on the answer space. So don't say either this or this, you as the marker, you decide which one is correct. No, sorry. Usually, if I can remember, they mark the first one. So scratch the one that you don't want them to mark. Therefore, teachers should emphasize that a marking is considered from the method to the answer. Thus, a correct answer with a wrong method will not yield any marks at all. So, methods must be correct. Don't give them options. Decide for yourself which one is correct. Scratch the other one. Candidates should be discouraged from erasing their workings even if they are written in pencil. Leave your pencil. You can write in pencil. Just leave it. Also, spelling of mathematical terminologies seem to be challenging to many candidates. Therefore, spelling quiz of mathematical words should be conducted by teachers at school level. So, just like isosceles triangle, go and write it out 10 times. Or what they're asking is identify difficult words and then go and ask your students to study it for a spelling test. And then on a Friday morning or a Monday morning, the first 10 minutes, just let them write that spelling test, because you will lose marks if you spelled it incorrectly. Okay. It is also alarming to see that candidates round off exact answers and are also losing marks because of premature rounding. Now, an exact answer is, for example, if you have I'm just going to get my pencil correct. Let me just get say you get on the calculator 2,84 and it stopped. There's nothing else on the calculator. That is an exact answer. So if you get, say, 2,857, this is to 4 significant figures, but this is exact because there's nothing else on the calculator. Then just like I showed you on the previous, and I'll show you now again, then that is you must leave it like that. I'll take you back to that before we start with the question paper. So, losing marks because of premature, that means if you have in between steps, and I will emphasize it when we come to the question paper, then write the full calculator display and only approximate at the final step. Okay. So because of premature rounding, candidates should be encouraged to write the full calculator display answer before attempting to round it off. This is also, and I will emphasize it. So if you get a full calculator, say it's going on, first write it, and in the final step, you approximate. Because sometimes you can then also get an extra mark. Not always. Okay. It was observed that many candidates seem not to have their mathematical instruments, as many candidates fail to answer the question on construction. That is very sad. So try to borrow one, try to buy one, and please, teachers, control your students or your learners' mathematical calculators before they go into the examination, and try to help them out if they cannot afford it by just the school having for the exams mathematical instruments. I don't know, but try your best. Okay, let's start with the question paper. So I'm going to go back to the question paper. Okay, so here it is. I just want to show you before I go to the question. There's if the degree of accuracy is not and the answer is not exact. So if it's 5 significant or 4 significant figures, but it stops on the calculator, then that is the answer that you must write. Then don't approximate it to 3 significant figures. Okay, so just keep that in mind, but I'll show you. If we come to an example, then I'm definitely going to show it to you. Let's start with the question paper. Question number 1. Write down the place value of 9 in this. Now, if you look, it is 3. Let me just write it down. 348.593. Okay, so if I look at this, I will say this one is the unit. Before the point. This is the 10. This is the 100. Now, the position after the point is the 10, and then you put a TH. This position is 100, and then you put a TH. And this one will be 1000, and then you put a TH. So you can either write 100, but don't forget your TH, or 1/100. That's what they wanted. Okay, I think this comes from primary school. Now, write 39/7, also coming from primary school or grade 8, as a mixed number. Okay, now what you can say is you can say 7 go into 39, how many? 5. 5 times 7 is 35, so it's 5. And if you subtract 39 minus 5, you get 4/7. But you can use your calculator. I want you, if you use a calculator, just press 39 ABC 7 equal. So 39, if you have that ABC, 7 equal. And then that will also give you 5 and 4/7. But don't make it a decimal. Okay, so you can even use your calculator. And that's all just one mark. So 1 mark, 1 mark. Write down 2 prime numbers between 80 and 90. Now, if you look, all the even numbers will be out. Okay, so you can say, okay, I'm going to try maybe 81. I can try, I'll show you now. I can try, say, 83, not 85, 5, I know 5. I can try 87, and I can try maybe 89. Okay, but let's try to find, if there's more than 2 numbers, the number 1 in itself, then it's not prime. Now, do you know, if you must know how a number divides by 3, then the sum of the numbers must give you a number divisible by 3. So if you say 8 plus 1, just want to take another color. If you say 8 plus 1, that's 9, and 3 can go into 9. So out. It's not. Okay. And the same, if you take this one, 8 plus 3, so 8 plus 3, so we can try that one, it's 11, but look at this one, that 3 cannot divide into 11. But if you say 8 plus 7, that's 15, and 3 can go into, so it's out. So the only two that will be left will be 83. I'm going to go to, so that I can mark in red. So it will be 83 and 89. Did you see how I did it with elimination? Because there's only 2. So you just try to divide, if it can divide by 2, if it can divide by 3, if it can divide by 5, then 7, use your prime numbers, then 11, then 13. Okay, and if it cannot, then it's going to be a prime number. Okay. Now, and if you want to check it in the textbook, I want to refer, if I can, I'll refer to the textbook. Then you can always check in part 1 in the grade 10, 11 textbook, and you will see it on page 2. Then I give you all, it's coming also from grade 8, 9, but I give you a nice summary there of prime numbers. Okay. The next one, using a calculator, work out. Now, if you press it on the calculator, just remember, put a bracket in, or if you come to the end of that 3, you must just press equal. Another thing, make sure your calculator stands, because it's trigonometry, that it's standing on that D. Okay, for degrees, not radians. Okay, if it's an R, then it's not, then you must put the setting. Now, I have a very simple calculator. So I just go mode, and then I see degrees, and I go for 1, and then usually it's on there. Okay, so press on your calculator. If you do the bracket, you can say bracket for, usually it's not this brackets. I just want to show you. Usually it's this kind of brackets on your calculator. So say bracket 4 multiply another open bracket, sin 100, close the bracket, minus 3, another bracket, and then divide by 5. That will give you the answer. Or if you don't want to put the brackets, another way, then you will just start from the beginning. You will say 4 multiply bracket, sin 100, close the bracket, minus 3, but then you must press equal. And then divide 5. And then you will get it. Now here comes the whole thing. First, write down your full calculator display. Now on the calculator, you will get 1.187846202. Okay, and if I approximate it to 3 significant figures, then I'm going to say, okay, oh, no, they said not 3. If they give you something else, you have to go on what they said in the question, 2 decimal places. So that 7 will make this, so it's 0.19. Okay, I forgot to go to the report, so let's stop. And just for these 4 questions, let's first go to the report. Otherwise, it becomes too many things. Okay, so question number 1. This question was poorly answered with a common answer of tens. That's the second, not the third. Spelling of the word 100. So it's 100 and then the TH was a major concern, as well as understanding of place value concept. But it was 100 or 1 over 100. Okay, that was the 2 they were looking for. Then, this question was well answered. Although some candidates expressed the answer as a decimal, no, that's incorrect. Common wrong answers was the decimals. Candidates lack to use a calculator and understand of simple mathematics concepts. For example, changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. Teachers should be put more emphasis on these elementary concepts. So if you come to any question in the class and you are busy, it's about repeating a lot of times the same things, but that was the correct answer. Okay, then we go to the next one. well answers. However, some candidates gave 81 and or as prime numbers. Some candidates did not read the instruction and gave 2 and 3 as possible answers, although the range was given. So it's 83 and 89. That was the two questions, 83 and 89. Okay. So that 2 was not correct because they can also divide by 3. So if you write 3 and you included that 2, then you would have lost that mark. And then question number 4. This question was moderately answered and some candidates failed to round off correctly. A common wrong answer was this was given as candidates to recognize that their calculator has a direct algebraic logic DAL built into it. Thus, the concept could be easily calculated. In short, candidates should be encouraged to invest in scientific calculators that make such type of calculations, example versions with virtual display or fractions, easy. Some learners failed this question by doing premature rounding within their working. And it seems to me they are first giving that correct answer on the next page. And let me just show you that correct 0.19. But did you see, if you wrote that full calculator display, even if you gave them that or that, you could have got that 1 mark. And this is the type of things that you want to get. Maybe you approximate incorrectly, but you can still get that if you just wrote the full calculator display. Let's go back to the question paper. Okay, so let's just see. Okay, we do the last one on this page. Solve for x. Now, this is coming, and if I can refer you to it, the textbook, I'm always going to do that because it's so nice. Just maybe if you start preparing, that you just see the basics, and if you know the basic is in all the textbooks, I think you can already get 80% for a question if you conquered the basics. Okay, but let's start by saying the textbook. You will find this algebra in part 1 of the grade 10-11. It's chapter 4, and it's what? What is chapter 4? Do you know? In the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbooks. Okay, and then on page 124 I gave you, so there is always where you will find it in the textbook. But the nice thing about this one is you have a fraction and a fraction, but it's one term equals one term, and I said it in previous videos, I say it in the textbook, then we cross multiply. So we say 3x times 10, and that will be 30x. And we say 9 times 5, that will be 45. And then we will divide by 30, and we will divide by 13. You can use your calculator, and that will give you 1.5. Or if somebody is getting 3/2, they are also correct. So now transfer that correctly. Say 1.5. X is equal to 1.5. Okay, let's go back quickly to that question. Let me just see what the report is saying to us. I like actually now paper 1 is very short, so it's going a little bit, but let's see. 1.5. So many candidates answer this question very well, although some candidates round the answer of 1 to 2. No, that is premature. Candidates need to be reminded that exact answers are not rounded unless or otherwise stated in the question. So it's 1.5. It's actually not, it's just making it one decimal significant figure. And where this one is an exact one. Okay, so leave it 1.5 or write it 3/2. And it was just 1 mark. Okay, let's go back to the question paper. Okay, and now we finish with this page and we go for the second page. And this was not a difficult page. Very nice. I think here it becomes a bit more challenging, because this is now going to be, if you look at this question, it's still in, it's going to be coordinate geometry, and usually you struggle a little bit with coordinate geometry, or more with coordinate. So let's first read the question. Let's first identify the question. So line B passes through point. Okay, there's the point. Do you see the point? -2 and 5, and is perpendicular to the line 2x minus 3, as shown in the diagram. There's the perpendicular sign. Did you see that? Now they're going to say, work out the equation of line B, so this equation, giving your answer in the form. Now, where will I find it in the textbook? And I'm going to write it here for you. So it's, I think here's a good place. It's still in part 1, the textbook part, the thick one, and it's in chapter 7. And it's the coordinate geometry. And if you look there on page 312 in the textbook, and you go to example 14, oh, that's going to help you a lot. Okay, so it's always, if you struggle and you're working it out, first go back to the textbook, go to the basics, conquer that, and then try to do the question again on your own. Okay, but let's do it for you. So first, because of this perpendicular, I must first find the gradient of this line. Now, perpendicular lines, so if I know, so perpendicular is going to be negative, because this is a positive, so it's going to be, and if it's 2 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 2. Okay, so basically, I'm going to have y is equal to negative a half x plus c. I fill it in, I know now. Now I still have this extra point. So make that x and make that y. So in the place of y, I put 5. And in the place of x, I put -2. So 5 is equal to, and the negative, so this is going to become 1 plus c. I take that 1 over, so it's 5 minus 1. And the value of c, what will be the value of c? It's 4. Don't stop there. They want, work out the equation. So they want it, y is equal to negative a half x. I'm going back to this step. Are you with me? And now I put in the value of c. So plus 4. And that will be, let's go to the exam report, because I always want you directly after this to see what did the examiners wrote to you. Okay, so let's see what they are writing. Now we can go previous. Okay, so poorly answered. I know this is a bit challenging, especially for students struggling. Candidates could not apply the concept of gradients of perpendicular lines. Some candidates use 2 and -3. Now remember, signs are different, and it's the reciprocal if it's perpendicular. If it's equal, then it's exactly the same gradient. As a candidate, calculate the gradient. Candidates who manage calculate the gradient fail to get the y-intercept. Emphasis on straight line functions must be given on using the gradient, intercept, and general form to write down the equation of a straight line in the form y equals mx plus c. This is also the name of my books. So it's the straight line to success. Okay, and there it is. But again, if you came to the gradient, and I'll show you, you could have got a point. And then if you got the value of c, and then after putting everything in. Okay, but they gave you also otherwise for that one. So let's just go back to the question papers. Okay, so if I must see where you get, definitely if you come to the negative for half, if you got the value of c, and then by putting it in correctly, you will get your final 3 marks. Really, go and practice it. Is really, the method is not that difficult. Okay, let's go to question number 8. Solve the inequality. Now, as I said, I always like to take you first to the textbook, to the y equals mx textbook. So it's still in part 1. It's in chapter 4, where equations is. It's linear inequalities. This is a linear inequality. It's just with equations. And you can look there on page, so go and prepare if you struggle. Go first to page 162 and go and try example 41. And then you try to do this example. Okay, but let me do it for you. So first we just multiply out the brackets and you're already going to get a mark for that. So if I say 8 times 2, I'm just going to start writing here. So 16 minus 8 times 3, it's 24x, negative 4 plus 8x and smaller and equal to 0. Okay, now I'm going to take all the x, I'm just going to mark all your like terms. Do you see? This is my like terms. Okay, so if I say negative 24, use your calculator if you struggle, plus 8, it's now exam. In the class, I will not encourage it. But now you don't want to make unnecessary if you struggle with a calculation like that. Okay, and then if I take this one, we first go on this side. So 16 minus 4, that will be 12. Okay, but now I take the 12 over. Now, before I write the inequality sign, it becomes negative 12. But because I'm going to divide by a negative, the inequality sign must swap around. So from a smaller equal to a bigger equal if you are reading it from that side. Okay, if you divide by positive, the inequality sign stays the same. If you divide by a negative, the inequality sign swap around. And that's what I did. Did you see there? Did you focus there? Did you see I did it there? I just don't want to leave the red marks. Okay, and if I divide, just like the principle of the equation, then I also divide by negative 16 on that side. And then I get x is bigger and equal to 3/4. And I simplify. So I write x is inequality sign don't just write 3/4. For equations, for inequalities, I write everything out. Okay, but let's go to that exam question paper and see what they wrote there to us. Okay, so let's look here what they said. Usually, this question was moderately answered. Candidates are expanding correctly. They multiply out the brackets, very good. However, they often replace the inequality sign with an equal sign or omitted the inequality sign completely. Please don't do it. The methods are the same, but you have to keep the inequality sign, and you must remember that it swaps around if you divide by a negative number. Some candidates fail to realize that the inequality sign should be reversed when divided or multiplying by a negative value. Common wrong answers was on the answers page without any inequality sign. As I said, you cannot just write that. So you could have made it a decimal, so x is bigger than equal to 0.75, or you could have read it from that side also, but then the x, then the inequality, but must read bigger if you read it from that side. Or, like that. All that was correct. So let's just go back to the question paper. Okay, and then, as I said, where will I get my marks? Definitely, they were very nice. If you multiply out correctly, they would have gave you a mark. If you come to this step, then I think they would give you a mark, and then for the final one, they gave you a mark. Okay, and then let's do the last question in this video. Then I'll continue with part 2 in another video. So, Gwendoline had 1,050. She gave 5% to charity and kept the rest of the money. Work out how much money she kept. Now, there's more than one way. This is percentage. If you want, I'll always refer to the textbook so that you can do just a bit of revision. So it's still part 1. It's in chapter 1. It is percentage. And it's finding a percentage of a quantity. So I think if you look there on page 11, example 6, so finding the percentage of a quantity. Okay, but let's now start to do it. Now there's two ways. You can either say she kept 100 minus 5, so she kept 95, and you can, because they said the money she kept, and you could have just said 95 over 100 multiply by 1, and you would have got the answer directly, which was 997.50. This is 997.50. Or, and let me just go here with the or. I'm going to write it in yellow. You could have said 5, or you could have worked out 5, and you multiply it with the 1050. Don't in the exam go for the or. I'm just showing it you on the video for the person who did it like that. So you just do one method, the one that you feel comfortable with. Okay, and then I would have taken the 1050 and I would subtract the 52.50, and I would have also get 997.50. So for what would I get the marks? I think if you come to that 15, if you for the method and for the final answer, or if they saw the 52, you would have got that answer. Okay, let's just go quickly to the exam report and then finish this video before we continue with the next video. So let's just go up. This is question 9. Poorly answered. Many of the candidates only work out 5% and fail to subtract the answer. Remember, she didn't give so much. Read the question and think of the question. You know, it's will you keep 5% and give 95 away? I think you will struggle to survive then, but it's good to give 5 away. A common wrong answer was 52.50. A number of candidates also misread the number in the question as 15%. Please don't make, instead of 5 or 1, instead of this, putting an extra 0. Although the number does not alter the difficulty of method required, a mark was deducted for the misread. Emphasis must be placed on reading instructions and questions properly so that they do not lose marks. Okay. All these videos refer to the y equals mx plus c textbooks, the number 1 mathematics textbook used in Namibian schools. For more information on these textbooks, visit the Straight Line Publishing website. All y equals mx plus c to success textbooks are available in the NIET catalogue of the Ministry of Education. Schools can order these using their yearly budget for textbooks, with the process typically starting mid-year. Make sure your learners have a copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook used by the top schools in Namibia in front of them in 2025. A final point. If you are in the position, I want to encourage you to buy your own personal copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook. These textbooks are available at the following bookshops. Remember, success in mathematics comes from hard work, perseverance, and the courage to face challenges head on. Good luck with your final 2024 examination.